Welcome into TFW Live. We're the best kept secret in fantasy football, and we keep that week one feeling going all year long. This is episode 348, and I'm going to be talking about, with my friend Donnie here, the injury news and nuggets from around the NFL heading into week 9. But before that, I want to let you know that support for the show TFW Live is brought to you by our friends over at Manscaped. They are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. And Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate in the men's hygiene bundle. You can join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. It's 20% off plus free worldwide shipping with the code TFWMAN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code TFWMAN at manscaped.com. As you know, I am Big Travie, and I'm joined here tonight with a very special guest, our producer extraordinaire, Donnie Tubbs, a.k.a. Don Flick. You've been with me all week, been with us all season, but rocking with us a little bit more regular this week, man. How you doing today, man? Week 9's almost upon us.
I'm doing great. I mean, my players didn't do too well yesterday, but I'm doing great personally. Yeah.
We didn't hit the slip, so
no. Pretty close on one of them.
Yeah, we were okay on a couple of them, but that Thursday night ended up being a little bit better. And then by the time I started making dinner, it kind of got out of hand for the Texans. We figured that might happen for them. But listen, if you love fantasy football, you want to be part of a community where you know you belong, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel right now. We're trying to get just one more subscriber, just one more. It could be you. So let us know where you're streaming from. We'd love to shout you out on the show. Big welcome to Whisper Nation in the chat. Kyle in here, Albert, Calvin. We got all of our homies in here and a bunch coming in as well. So shout out to you guys. And, of course, those that support the YouTube channel through a monthly subscription. Pizza Belly, Hanimal, Gus Ramos, Don Caples, Bailey Ziegler, Nick, Brett Zabo, John Credit, Eric Lorenzen, Donnie Tubbs, and Jersey J. If you want to join that growing list of YouTube members, click join next to the video right now as well. Donnie, when I asked you about Thursday night last night, and we see everybody's questions in here, we're definitely going to get into those, and we're going to get into all the team's injury news and notes. But when I asked you about last night, what was your biggest takeaway from that game last night?
Oh, man. I think the Eagles are real, man. 8-0. It looked a little rough in the beginning. I think it was 17-14 at half. But as you said, dinner came around, they just pulled away. They're on another level. I think they're going to continue the streak. We talked about their schedule rest of the season, and it looks not that tough. I mean, they have the Giants coming up, divisional matchup, which is always tough. But otherwise, I think they have a clear ride deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they'll play my Packers, but that doesn't seem to be any scary this year. So we'll see what happens there. I would double that, and then also Dameon Pierce. This is what I saw on Twitter a lot of today. Man. Dameon Pierce, how good Dameon Pierce looks. I saw a lot of people coming back on their stance that they. The whole play for Dameon Pierce was have him pop this year, that he's getting volume, maybe sell him in Dynasty. But a lot of people I saw on Twitter were like, nope, can't sell him. This guy passes the eyeball test. He's the real deal. So it'll be interesting to see where Pierce lines up. But, man, has he looked good. I think he's got 45 touches over the last 2 weeks to 3 touches to Rex Burkhead. I mean, that is amazing right now. So you love to see that, as you said there. Eloquently, my man. All right, so we've got some questions in here, and before we do get into the news and notes, we'll get some of these answered here. Kyle Nagel says, who do I trade for Debo? I have Lazard, Algier, Waller, Thielen, Mariota, and Mike Williams. I mean, it's going to be hard for you to get
I don't know
Debo with these guys, but you might want to take Thielen and maybe Mike Williams. Maybe you could get that done. Maybe that's a contender that wants to hold on to Mike Williams for the playoffs or something there. Calvin Brown saying just left work, so doing fan-fucking-tastic. Congratulations. Hoping to keep climbing that TFW Listener League ladder. I mean, you and Donnie, man, you guys are doing some good work with those rosters. Adam in here saying, what's up, guys? Need some help. I'm 3-5. Got to start one RB2. Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White, Alexander Madison. Also need one flex. Pittman or Dubs. I'm looking for the most upside in a must-win situation. I think if the RB2 and we're going pure upside, I'm going to go Pacheco. He will at least be the starter, probably get a red zone look. What about that flex, though? Pittman or Dubs for you? Probably going to be Pittman, right?
Yeah, I'm really high on Pittman. He's going to see a influx of targets with the young quarterback. But, I mean, Dubs has looked great. He had 2 fantastic catches last week. So, man, the ceiling for both these guys is pretty high, and the floor is pretty low. So, I'd still
Dubs
go
up
Pittman, I
against
think.
Detroit.
Ooh,
So you do have the Packers against Detroit, but I'm with you. I'd still lean Pittman just as far as talent is concerned. I like him. And then as we continue to get through this, keep dropping those questions in there. If you want an immediate answer, go ahead and hit that super chat. We'll skip to the line, but we will get to all the questions once we move through some of the news and notes of today's NFL. Like we have the injury designations coming out this afternoon. And Donnie, you've got some of these headlines for us to go through. So let's
yeah,
do
man.
it.
So first here we have the Cardinals. So Cliff Kingsbury said that James Conner with his ribs will be a game time decision. And then Kyler Murray also said, this is actually pretty interesting for a lot of people, a lot of Robbie Anderson homers out there. He said Robbie Anderson will be up to speed by this weekend, ahead of the team's Week 9 matchup against the Seahawks.
Yeah, we got a lot of Robbie.
What are you feeling about? Does this scare you on Mr. Small Guy, 5'7" Speedy Gonzalez over there?
Well, I'm kind of off on the wide receivers other than Hopkins, anyways, because Seattle's been playing so well at the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I got to see it with Robbie. This has just been too long of him being flaming out here and there and just kind of been up and down. I'm not really into Robbie Anderson. James Conner, though, whoever starts for the Arizona running back is an interesting play this week because of, your Seahawks giving up quite a bit of receiving yards and usage to the running back. And so that could be a nice start this week.
Yeah, generally speaking, if you have a tight end or running back going against the Seahawks, you probably want to start them.
Yeah,
that's why I would, if he's starting, I'd probably start him. But with Robbie, I would just wait. Tough secondary matchup against the Seahawks, and we're not sure if he actually is going to be up to speed yet.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next we have the Ravens here. Rashad Bateman's foot. He'll season-ending Lisfranc surgery. I remember that. I didn't know it was a Lisfranc though. That's
what it was crazy. It went from like a couple weeks to out for the year.
Out for the year, man.
Yeah, he and his agent, his family got together and decided to have the surgery. So
that's tough. And then Gus Edwards is not practicing Friday, that's always not good to see. We have Mark Andrews. You're the Mark Andrews owner this year. He did not practice Friday as well, which might be hurting you specifically. And then John Harbaugh said that Deshaun Jackson would likely be active Monday. So let me get your thoughts first on the Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely thing first.
Yeah, so Andrews, it's going to be interesting because they said he avoided a major injury, but we've been talking about this kind of all week. We had Isaiah Likely as the cover boy for the waiver show, right, Donnie? And then we basically said, look, it's probably smart of the Ravens to rest Andrews this week. They have the bye next week. That'll give them about 23 days off between the bye and between them playing on last Thursday night and between missing this week. So I think that's the way they go. They have Likely here, but man, they even after we put this show together, Demarcus Robinson in his groin, he was limited. So they are just like, they have continuous problems with their receivers. I think Likely is a guy you would want to play if you have Andrews and you're holding out hope he plays. Tomorrow, Saturday, check the news wire, and of course be with us Sunday because they play Monday night. So the real Friday practice is actually tomorrow on Saturday. So we will know tomorrow what the designation, so to speak, of Andrews is. But I have to guess it's going to be Likely suiting up. But the Saints join only 3 other teams that have not allowed a touchdown to a tight end this season. They are allowing only 5 points per game. It's a really, really tough matchup.
That's a tough matchup. And say Andrews is out and Robinson's out. Do you throw a flyer out of Deshaun Jackson and hoping for like an 80-yard bomb? Are you like in a league where you're hoping and praying? Are you?
I mean, maybe in the lister league where you're there's four flex.
Yeah,
that's about the extent of what I'd be willing to do with Deshaun Deshaun Jackson. You just got to see it again. I mean, this is a guy that's like 30 plus years old. He's continuously had hamstring issues over the last couple years. Yes, he's a big play guy, but I like Duvernay, man. If I'm going to play somebody in this offense, I think Duvernay is a guy they scheme up and a guy I'd be looking to get into my lineup if I could.
Same, especially with the end round work and
yeah,
he's an exciting talent. All right, next here we have the Panthers. Chuba Hubbard has been ruled out for Week 9 against the Bengals. So Donta Foreman,
Yeah, down to Foreman season continues. It rumbles on. And look, you guys can't be surprised anymore. We saw it last year, right, with Derrick Henry going down, and Foreman filled in and did it admirably. And he has been rocking and rolling this year so far. I love it. We are definitely in fantasy football season, the thick of it, when we're talking about guys like
Donta Foreman, man.
Yes, or Deion Jackson, who we'll talk about in a little bit. All these guys, it's amazing.
I love it. And so it's hard in the heart too, because you waited all off season for the season to be here, and it's just flying by, and we're like at the halfway point right now.
I honestly tripped out when we were getting ready to do the show. You know, I'm posting the link places to share it with people, and I'm like, week 9. Oh man, week 9. Like 9 weeks into this thing. It's crazy. It was a little bit surreal. But I wanted to ask you just really quickly, Mike Hilton out for the Bengals. So DJ Moore, who has with PJ Walker, has gone from 50% catchable balls with Baker Mayfield up to 70 or 80 with PJ Walker.
Man? That's crazy. Baker couldn't give a huge talent in DJ Moore the ball when he was healthy, man.
Yeah. Well, you see, so they were. Go ahead.
I didn't know Mike Hilton was out. I knew Awuzie was out. So
that was announced. Yeah, so they're going to be. This could turn into a shootout real quick, which is what we want to see. For our DJ Moore shares, for our T. Higgins shares, Tyler Boyd.
I just traded T. Higgins today for Leonard Fournette. I needed a running back bad.
Oh, yeah, you definitely did.
It's a 3 running back, and I had Stevenson and Algier and a nobody.
Yeah, you definitely need that, especially with CPAC potentially coming back. Yeah. So we don't have an update yet on CPAC. It's a Saturday kind of thing with the IR.
Yeah. So on top of that, Wednesday he said he's 90%, but the coaches said they'll give a exact thing tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with these IR guys. Saturday the decisions are made, so we'll know Sunday for you, and we'll get it rocking and rolling. But keep an eye out as well.
Definitely. Man, the new Bears wide receiver Chase Claypool, Bears coach Matt Eberflus. Is that how he said it? Is that correct?
Eberflus, I think. But yeah,
he said that Chase Claypool would play in Week 9 and could see anywhere from 10 to 35 snaps. What a weird snap number! Anywhere from 0 to 100 snaps.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. Basically, he's probably getting tired of asked about it already. Yeah, they just traded for.
On a league where you have a few flex options, are you just benching him and waiting to see, or do you feel confident?
Well, I was actually going to pitch it back to you because you've got him in the listener league, right? So we play 4 flexes there. Are you starting him this week?
I have to. It's him or Travis Homer. so it's not very.
In that case,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I would do everything I can. I mean, look, you weren't probably in a position where you were having to start Claypool anyways. And maybe you were with bye weeks and bye Mageddon and those things going on. But I think that maybe this is a situation where you wait as much as you can to try and get you wait as long as you can to try and get Claypool into your lineup. But if bye Mageddon's there, I mean, I could understand. What you can say is if he is only in on 10 snaps, some of those should be in the red zone. So at the very least, maybe you get a touchdown. But I would not be trying to play him if I could.
Yeah. Well, and also for PPR, a new wide receiver could excite you because, especially with his body type and his build, and he has a yak.
Oh, his body type, huh?
Hell yeah, man. Maybe he does 2 or 3 wide receiver screens. So he doesn't.
Yeah, I think so.
They put him out there and say, "Hey, you're going to stop, turn, catch the ball, and run." Right?
Yeah.
You don't need to know the playbook for that.
Absolutely. I mean, the optimistic case is there for that. If you wanted to be pessimistic, you could say, well, we kind of thought Claypool was trending towards a tight end anyways, and Cole Kmet has taken this entire year to score 1 touchdown. So I don't know if I love it. But
he finally got one, man.
Yeah,
he finally got one.
I will say there are some bright things ahead. We like Justin Fields in this offense. I actually like Mooney, and I like what Claypool can do for Mooney. So I'm excited to get Mooney in the lineup this week. Well, I shouldn't say excited. By Mageddon forces you to do things, but I would say that I have some optimism for Mooney here.
Yeah, I like Mooney too. I mean, the writing's there, man. Mooney, deep threat, Claypool, over the middle, guy. It could be exciting if the coach can get the right plays in there for Fields to get the ball out to his playmakers. It could be exciting.
Absolutely.
All right, DeAndre Swift news. This is a good one for me, and it scares me. Is DeAndre Swift, his ankle and shoulder is questionable for Week 9 against the Packers, and Josh Reynolds, his back is doubtful for Week 9 against the Packers. I want to go back to the Swift thing real fast and ask you.
Absolutely.
What I read on Twitter was the coach is going to put him in there and see how he does. That terrifies me.
Yeah, it was not a good day for Swift GMs. I just traded Swift to our boy Johnny in our league of record for T. Higgins. Feeling a lot better about that today, but there were two blurbs. And the one that really didn't get a lot of attention was Deuce Staley saying, we expect more out of DeAndre Swift, and he's trending in the right direction. And then you had the other one with Campbell who said, look, we're going to put him in the game and see where he's at. Yeah, that's not what you want. I think he becomes an extremely volatile RB2 for you. But he also came out and told reporters today that he will likely never be 100% this year, which is another blurb that we just hate to see. He has just become, instead of that first round pick you banked on and the guys that we were continuing to pound the table for. I mean, just look at how bad we look if we were taking Swift ahead of Saquon Barkley right now.
And I did in a league. Like, so, oh my God, man. That's such a talent.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that we're looking at. He is a talent, but it is looking like something like, because he had the shoulder thing last year. He's got the other shoulder this year, plus the ankle. So he's got multiple things ailing him. Right now, it's Jay Willie season. You're going to continue to roll Jamal Williams out there as like a true RB2 here with touchdown upside. And then you got DeAndre Swift. You got to hope in PPR he's getting worked in the passing game as kind of a change of pace back. You got to hope the game script goes in your favor. And look, that's kind of what we hope. Like the Lions are a mid-tier offense. They're not an elite offense, but they're pretty good. Yeah. You know, they can move the ball. So there's still a little bit of hope. It's not all dark clouds, but it's not as confident as you were before. And Dwayne McFarland, one of my favorites in the industry, we've had him on the show multiple times. He said, yes, you are starting Donta Foreman over DeAndre Swift. Yes, you are starting Deion Jackson over DeAndre Swift. And he said, I just have to get that out of the way. That's what his tweet said. So those are the kind of lines we're drawing because of volume this week and because of, this situation with Swift. I mean, at this point, just rest him a couple more weeks.
Right. But
I just don't get what they're doing here.
Yeah. In fantasy football world, like you said, By Mageddon multiple times, and it is By Mageddon. I mean, you might have to put him out
6 teams on By, yeah.
It's gross. It's icky, but it's tough.
Icky iguana.
Yeah. Does the Josh Reynolds thing have any say for you personally? I just think I thought about something, but let me ask.
It's just continuous. Like Khalif Raymond's a little interesting as a deeper play, as a sleeper, but it's a continuous Sun God show here. We are a pro Sun God show, and Amon-Ra St. Brown without TJ Hawkinson averages 8 catches, and you tell me Josh Reynolds is also going to be out. You tell me Swift is banged up. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to feast against the Packers.
What about TJ Hawkinson? Oh, wait.
He got traded, yeah.
No. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's man.
For me, this excites me for whenever Jameson Williams comes back in the fold.
Yes, dude.
Because seeing all these injuries and, Goff doesn't know who he's throwing to. When they get this top 10, top to 15 talent onto the field and match him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I just wish it was sooner, man. They keep slow playing these injuries, and it's smart of them to do that.
Especially the losing season they got going on.
Yeah, they got rid of Hawkinson. I just want to see him, though, man. I got him in Dynasty in the first round. I drafted him and Olave. I had 2 first-round picks, was able to get them both. Yeah. And I'm feeling good if we can get, 80-90% of what we saw Jameson Williams at Alabama. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I also got him in that 20-man Dynasty I talk about and about very often. And he's been riding my 5-man bench all season, hurting me a little bit, but I'm waiting.
Want to say what's up to everybody in the chat right now. Adam, Kyle, Steven, Franz, Calvin. We're going to get to your questions. Jenna, we've got all these questions. We're queuing them up here. We're definitely going to answer them. We're just working through kind of the news and notes right now. So stick with us. We'll get through all the injury stuff, but keep them coming. Yeah, we're definitely going to get to them.
All right, your Packers here, man.
Yeah, great.
Christian Watson. His concussion he's questionable for Week 9 against Detroit. And then Alan Lazard's shoulder is questionable for Week 9. Let me ask you, I thought you think Lazard's going to be back this week? Are you confident in that?
I wouldn't say I'm confident. The Packers are notoriously conservative. He said some weird shit last week. Like, I heard a snap, crackle, and pop in my shoulder in the game against Washington. Yeah, and then he didn't play against Buffalo. He's called a game-time decision by his coach. I like him as a wide receiver 3 as a flex if he's in because he can score a touchdown, and this is Detroit. But I have a feeling the Packers are looking at this game and they're saying it's Detroit. We could probably get by just jamming Aaron Jones down their throat all game long, and that's what they'll try to do, and they'll get one more week out of these guys of rest. But stranger things have happened, so I think we are technically past spooky season, but it's been a little bit scary for Green Bay, so maybe they're feeling the pressure and they get them out there.
Yeah, but both these notes about injuries just excite me more for Dubs, especially after last week and his two great catches. I don't really feel confident playing either of these guys, whether they play or not. I don't think Christian Watson will play. You never really see them hurried back from concussion nowadays.
Yeah, especially limited has been his practice participation. If we saw a full on Friday, maybe I'd be more inclined to think that, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah. All right, we have Brandon Cooks, who hopes he's probably on another team by now, but he is not. Lovie Smith expects him to be back to the team on Friday after he was held out of Thursday's game against the Eagles. Does next week, if he's in the game, are you rolling with him? Like,
if he's back with the team, if he practices, and if he's got no injury designation or any mumbo jumbo, and they get him in there, I'd play him. But I just wonder, because we just saw this kind of thing with Elijah Moore a little bit, right? Where Elijah Moore held out a little bit. They're like, okay, screw you, we'll bench you. He came back and he was ghosted. And then Saleh this week was like, Denzel Mims does a lot of good things, and you forget how good he is. And now it's like, okay, why didn't we trade Elijah Moore then?
Why didn't you trade both of them? They both wanted out.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson is. Anyways, I don't want to skip to the Jets just yet, but Cooks, to me, I traded Jacoby Myers for Cooks in a different league. It's a standard league, so I really was just like, I think Cooks has a little bit of upside late in the season, maybe if he stays with, or if he follows the OBJ path, gets cut, and then signs with a contender, then you could see that. But I don't think that's how Houston wants to play it.
Yeah.
But they screwed this up because they kept asking for 2 picks, plus nobody wanted the $18 million guaranteed next year. And so they just couldn't get a deal done. And they could have saved all this drama. But I'll tell you what, the Texans with that run game, if we can get Cooks back and healthy and in this, with this team, he can soak up some. Yeah, Davis Mills just loves him too. So, and he's commanded targets his whole career. So, yeah, I think there are brighter days ahead. Whether it's with the Texans or not, I think Cooks is a hold for now, which kind of sucks, but that's where you're at with it.
Yeah, Cooks has always excited me. He was probably my most drafted player in best ball in the offseason, just because he's like a Walmart version of Tyreek Hill, kind of. He's going to have his weeks where he goes off, and he's going to have weeks where he doesn't do much.
Now, you're really hoping for the OBJ path then in those best ball leagues. You're hoping he goes and signs with the Packers or something.
That'd be fantastic.
It gets peppered with those.
Trade deadline, I was like,
dude, me too. And I guess the Cowboys were really close, is what I read.
Oh, really?
Cowboys, were a contender for Cooks, but I think Jerry Jones obviously was not rebuffing on the 18 mil.
That would have been good for Lamb too, though.
Yes,
man. All right, Jonathan Taylor hurting us all. First overall pick owners out there. His ankle, he will not play again against the Patriots. And the coach Frank Reich also told reporters this week that Deion Jackson will be the guy. So being the guy, do you think 10 targets in the receiving game again?
Well, there's a big Matt Ryan difference between this game and the last game because Sam Ehlinger will start, and he's a rushing quarterback or known for his scrambling. And what we know about those quarterbacks, Donnie, is they tend to not target the running back as much. He only targeted his running backs, I believe, 3 or 4 times last week, so not something you love to see. But that being said, Deion Jackson is in line to be the guy because nobody else, they're not going to put it in Ehlinger's hands to win this game against Bill Belichick's defense. They're going to try and run the ball and run it a lot. And look at the Colts' track record this week before I get on a huge tangent here. First of all, the Colts this week they fired their offensive coordinator, who doesn't even call plays, right? Like Frank Reich still calls plays. But anyways, Frank Reich is –
fall guy.
Yeah, he was the fall guy. They benched Matt Ryan last week. They traded away Naheem Hines, and Jonathan Taylor's got an ankle injury. Also, what was said today, Frank Reich said that there is no – at this time, they're not considering the IR for Jonathan Taylor. At this time. We don't know if that doesn't mean that they don't end up doing it anyways. We'll see how the ankle responds. He aggravated it last week. That if people are wondering what's going on, it was in the game last week that he aggravated it. But remember this line, and it was all over Twitter today, so I just have to say it again. Everybody was telling me this as I was drafting Christian McCaffrey number 1 overall in our mock drafts. Well, you can't draft Christian McCaffrey overall. He's too injury prone. You can't do that. And now look at Jonathan Taylor And I'm not trying to take laps here. I'm just trying to point out that running back is injury prone, period. And so anything can happen to these backs. And Jonathan Taylor was said to be durable. He was said to be young. He was the least, injury prone guy in that first round. And here we are with multiple games. It'll be 3 now that he's missed with the ankle. And how much has the ankle limited him in the other games?
Yeah, man, the term injury prone, you can put it on every running back, honestly. The ones that don't get injured they're on their own, right? It's super rare for a running back in this league. They have the shortest careers, and it's because they're injured quite often. But Deion Jackson, I'm really excited for. And who's going to be his backup? Philip Lindsay and Jordan Wilkins?
Yeah, they were saying they're going to elevate Philip Lindsay. They're not sure if Zach Moss is ready to make a.
I forgot. They got in the Hines trade. They got Moss as well. That does not excite me very much.
Yeah, but I don't know if he'll even be active for this game. So at least for this one, you're rocking with Deion Jackson, and I think Deion Jackson's going to be a nice little hold, nice little pickup for you this week because we'll see what happens with this ankle. Because if it was, they called it a minor ankle sprain, as if there is such a thing a couple weeks ago when he first got it, and then he re-aggravated it. So I can't tell you what's going to happen here, but we've seen these high ankles go 4 weeks before, and so
longer.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with JT.
Definitely. The man, the myth, legend himself, Kadarius Toney.
Let's go.
Andy Reid said he expects him to play Week 9 against Titans. Are we rolling him in already, or are we waiting to see? What are you doing?
Well, I have to resist every single urge. I'm like a damn heroin addict trying to get Kadarius Toney into my lineup. But this was Kadarius Toney. Heading into practice. I don't know if you saw the video today, but he did a couple cuts and caught a pass or something, and people are like, oh, he's magically healthy now. And it's just a reiteration that we thought that these hamstring injuries probably could have been a mutual discussion between both the player and the team, that basically they didn't want to be there because I don't think that Dable really cared for Toney, and I don't think that Toney cared for the Giants. And this is where we're at, But I tell you what, Andy Reid says they're going to get him involved, and I bet you that there's going to be a couple deep shots at the very least, or some crossers or stuff in the red zone. So if you are extremely desperate, I think he is a desperation flex, and that's where I would categorize him, because this could be like the Claypool thing. 10 to 35 snaps, we're talking about here. So anywhere in between. But I will say I'd take 10 snaps in Andy Reid's offense versus 10 snaps in the Bears offense. So I would definitely be starting him over a guy like Chase Claypool.
Yeah, I love it. And one thing about it, he has a huge tattoo of number 89 on his back. I checked the roster for the Chiefs. I didn't see 89 on the roster, unless it's on IR, and I didn't check that far.
Yeah, it could be.
He just took 19?
Well, I think he's just fully embracing that the back tattoo was a different time in his life. Yeah, and now he's moving forward. You can't look back. Yeah, you can only look forward. That's where we're going.
I love it. All right, the Raiders here had a rough week. Derek Carr, he was removed from the Week 9 injury report and will play against the Jaguars. That's looking good. And his main man, Devontae Adams, had an illness, and he was removed from the injury report as well. Any thought on those two before we read the other two?
Well, you just hope for a big bounce back game here. The Raiders were absolutely smothered by New Orleans last week. They're playing a Jacksonville team that a little bit okay against, like your pass catchers, but this is Devontae Adams. I'd imagine that they're going to bounce back pretty well here. I don't know if Carr is somebody I'm really slamming into my lineups, but again, 6 teams on bye. I could see you having to go to Derek Carr here and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's not the worst matchup. And if his main man's healthy, I think Renfro's healthy. But right here, Darren Waller, he with his hamstring is questionable, so maybe he's out again. But Fabian Monroe had like 9 targets last week. He was actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, Foster Moreau has been an excellent like 1-for-1. Fabian's probably better. We should probably just tell him to change it.
Well, that's the corner on the he's on the Giants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I wonder if they're related. I would say that if you're desperate for a tight end there, it's all right. I like the tight end on the other side of this game. Like, I'm really in on Evan Ingram this week. I think he's a smash start. But yeah, I think Darren Waller, you're hoping he can get back for this game because it's just been a while, but these hamstrings can linger, and he's not the youngest guy. Like, he's already started his career a little bit older because he had changed positions, he changed teams, all those kind of things. But yeah, Adams, Josh Jacobs, smash starts for me this week in this matchup.
Definitely. And I wanted to talk about this one last because it's Austin's favorite guy is Mac Hollins. He was removed from the week 9 injury report.
Mac Hollins.
Any big take on Mac Hollins?
No, not really. He's going to continue to be like a deep threat, and in DFS at the right spot, you might want to smash Mac Hollins, but nothing for me.
It's hard to start a beta every week.
Yeah, but the Raiders have to do it,
Exactly, man. All right, Eckler, he will play week 9 against the Falcons. He has something limited with his abdomen.
Yeah.
DeAndre Carter with the illness is questionable for week 9 against the Falcons. I want to talk about the illness thing real fast. We haven't seen much COVID designation this year, huh? I was just thinking.
No, it's magically not around anymore.
Yeah, man.
I haven't seen it, and it makes sense to me. I think the public is kind of not caring as much anymore. I couldn't tell you. This is all speculation. I couldn't tell you that none of these guys are getting COVID, but I would imagine that we're not tested as much in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and this one, as a Keenan Allen owner in a few leagues, he again will not play in week 9 against the juicy matchup with their star corners out also, and he's not playing again. And
the Falcons have surrendered the most receiving yards to wide receivers on the year. I think over 1,700 receiving yards to wide receivers. And Keenan Allen's dumbass had to try and play the week before the bye, and then couldn't explode, took himself out of the game, and said that during the bye, his hamstring got worse. What the hell, Keenan Allen? Like, seriously, what the hell, dude? This team needs you, especially with Mike Williams and the high ankle sprain that he suffered. What are you doing? Dude, this team is just snake bitten right now with all the injuries, and I'm feeling really, Keenan Allen's over 30, and the hamstring re-injury rate is already bad enough, and now he's got basically he's dinged up. Yeah, I mean, I saw all over Twitter today, people remember one comment. I wish I remember who she was. She goes, I just feel like rage dropping Keenan Allen, and I was like, I can't even blame you. I understand the pain that you're going through, but. Yeah, if you don't have an IR spot, it's really tough right now.
It's super tough. And lastly here, before I get to what I want to talk about, is another wide receiver is Brandon Staley says that Donald Parham with his hamstring aggravated the same hamstring he'd hurt early this year and will be out for weeks. I think fantasy football-wise, that's not the biggest deal. I don't know many people that are throwing out Donald Parham every week, but that's
I put it here because it is kind of a big deal to the routes that Everett runs. And so Everett gets taken off the field a bit more when Parham's playing. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but every time that happens for a tight end, it can ding a little bit. I think the ceiling for Everett continues to go up with all these weapons around him getting dinged up, and especially Parham. So Everett, again, continues to be just one of the best late-round tight end. In fact, because of the Njoku injury, Ingram's like the best one we have, or Everett's the best one we have right now.
Everett and Evan Ingram, I think.
Are definitely, they're running it right now.
For sure. And the one I want to talk about is, like you said, Everett way up, Palmer way up this week.
Yes. Yep. Josh Palmer's in a smash start. I put him in the article that'll drop tomorrow on Club Fantasy FFL. My confidence plays, my fades for the week. And it was all about Josh Palmer. And like I said, 1,700 yards to receivers that the Falcons have given up this year. And that's even with AJ Terrell, who I don't even know if he's going to play.
Only good defensive back is going to be out, AJ Terrell.
Yeah, and he hasn't even been that great. But Palmer should feast.
Dude, what do we think about the Chargers? Are they going to take care of the Falcons easily even with these injuries? I mean, they're not who we thought they were.
In the listener league, where the defenses get scooped up, it's a 16-team league. I had initially started the week with the Chargers. But as this news kept coming in, I was like, you know what now? Because the one way that you attack the Chargers is on the ground, and all the Falcons do is run the damn ball with four different running backs.
Hey, they throw it like 12 times.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So I'm out on the Chargers defense this week, and I think the Chargers can mess around and charger this game right the way to a loss. I mean, the Falcons are division leaders right now. Chargers can't say that.
Chargers can't say that. I like how you just used their name as an adjective. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they charger. Yeah. It's like your tweet. Lion's going to lion. I mean, the Chargers are going to charger.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Cooper Kupp here. Rams head coach Sean McVay said that Cooper with his ankle will play week 9 against the Bucs. Thank goodness, man. I mean, putting him in there late, running a passing route, and then injuring your star player in a game that didn't matter anymore. What is up with that?
Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw that old SNL skit with ooh-wee, what's up with that?
Oh,
What's up with that? Yeah, that's what I think. Anyways, that's completely off the rails here on this Friday. I want to stop you really quick before we get to the other parts of this. Do you think that it, like as a Cooper Cup GM in fantasy, and you may need him right now. I mean, I guess it's Tampa. Your only shot to beat Tampa. You're both struggling. Yeah, man, you forget it. I was going to ask, like, do you rest Cooper Cup this week to try and like? You gotta roll him out there though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's seasons on the line almost every week now.
Yeah, the Rams are rough this year, man. Both these teams.
Yeah.
People thought they were going to be the top in the NFC, and they both look.
Well, speaking of rough, we got this running back situation here.
Oh my God, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Thanks for giving me that, Melissa.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, for Van Jefferson, he expected him to play week 9. That's good.
Yeah.
Was he the number 4 receiver? Or did Skroneck get more?
Scrotum neck? Yeah, he split time with Scrotum neck there last week. He's coming back from the injury. I think it's just going to be a part-time thing between the two of them. I mean, Ben Skowronek, like all joking aside, did show a little bit of flash, like to stay in the lineup. So I think that's what's happening here. Plus, they're easing Van Jefferson back in. Either of these guys, I think the Rams would be happy to replace with Brandon Cooks or OBJ or something like that if that were to become available. But that's kind of where we're at. I think for me, I'm interested to see what the Cooper Cup injury and what the Van Jefferson stuff does to open up more looks for Allen Robinson. Because since they've moved Tyler Higbee back into the lineup to kind of block more, Robinson's had 2 best games, one before the bye, one after, where he's kind of seen more targets, he's seen more production. And so I kind of I had dropped Allen Robinson everywhere because I had drafted him everywhere. And then I dropped him everywhere. And now I've kind of like scooped him up in a couple spots because I'm a little bit optimistic that down the stretch here, especially if Cooper Kupp's got an ankle, that we could see some Allen Robinson action down the stretch. And there's the secondaries they face in the next few weeks. A lot of green in your app if you're looking on it.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I drafted him everywhere too. I mean, we were both on top of drafting him in the offseason mock drafts. I think we were fighting for him most of the time.
Yeah.
He's been pretty disappointing, but it's good to see him getting a little more. I mean, their line needs to block for like 3 seconds longer than they're blocking right now. But
then they'd be at 0.
Man, it's tough.
It's not good.
And you spoke of the running back situation being rough, and right here, Cam Akers. There's a possibility he plays week 9, and then for Kyron Williams, it's not yet been determined if he will be activated for week 9. Are we rolling the Henderson Rivers? Are we hoping for Akers? Are we even liking any of these running backs?
Well, the problem is, too, that you have the Tampa Bay defense, which, like, I know they got a little bit beat up against Baltimore and the Panthers.
Baltimore, yeah.
But they are still a pretty good defense against the run, so I don't really trust it. Henderson would be the optimal start for me no matter what happens with the other backs this week. I wouldn't want to, but again, we're talking about guys like Donta Foreman. We're talking about Deion Jackson. Not that I would start Henderson over those guys, but you picked up Henderson to kind of be this bye week fill-in maybe a couple weeks ago, and I think you'd probably still roll him out there in this situation here as well.
Yeah,
I just want to say quickly to everybody in the chat to continue to get those questions in there. We appreciate you. We're going to get to those. We're getting close to the end of the news and notes here, and then we're gonna roll through them all. So keep them coming. Keep giving us those scenarios, and we'll answer them here. What about you though? Like, because we could see Kyron Williams here activated tomorrow. That's the IR thing we were talking about on Saturday. Would you be interested in starting any of these guys?
Man, I mean, they need a boost, and I think I'm with you that Henderson's going to be the guy. The reason Rivers out-touched him was because of the illness and injury he was dealing with.
Yeah,
and
they were trying
this week. He's fine. He's not sick anymore. I think Henderson will be the guy. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if any one of these 4 running backs got the most carries.
I might be a little bit hopeful because of the listener league where I picked up Cam Akers, and I still want him to happen. I could see a scenario where Akers ends the season okay, like at RB3, honestly. RB2. Because of this whole prodigal son kind of narrative that's happened with him.
We loved him. We hated him. Now we love him again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But Henderson for this week for me.
Yeah, for sure. Same. Adam Thielen was removed from the Week 9 injury report and will play against the Commanders. That's good. Old man Thielen, baby.
Yeah, he had a new knee contusion in the game last week, and then all of a sudden Hawkinson gets traded to the Vikings, and this dude practices in full all week and says, "You're not taking my touchdowns."
Yeah, oh man, I like Hawkinson. I'm going to add on to Thielen.
Yeah, go for it.
He's whatever. Thielen's an okay start every week. I mean, I'm not excited to start Thielen, but I'm pretty excited. Move. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Hawkinson in this offense, man. I think he's going to be open a lot because the defense commands them to be in other places. The run game is tough. Thielen is known in this league for being a good wide receiver, and then Jefferson, probably the best wide receiver in the game, next to maybe Kupp. So I think
does this worry you about Jefferson? Do you think that Hawkinson has better appeal than he did in Detroit?
So I'm never going to be worried about Jefferson in this offense. I think they're for sure his number one option. Hawkinson makes me a little more scared for Thielen, but Thielen's going to get the ball. This just excites me, like I said, for Hawkinson just to be open more because he's never going to be double covered in this offense.
Yeah, I'm with that. I like that.
All right, for the Patriots here, the roulette of wide receivers. Devontae Parker will not play Week 9 against the Colts, and Damian Harris with an illness is questionable. So let's talk about the wide receiver, like I said, roulette first. Who are we excited in the offense to start besides Myers? Is there any?
I don't think there is anybody else. I think Jacoby Myers is their number one wide receiver. He's the guy who commands targets. Now his ADOT is such that really only in a PPR league is he really a guy you're like jamming into your lineup. But I do think without Devontae Parker, he could see a lot more targets. The problem with the Patriots is they're always going to be in these like low over-under games, low-scoring games, grinded out stuff. So that's why it doesn't excite you as much. But the Damian Harris news, man, you got to be licking your chops if you're a Ramondre Stevenson owner, hoping that he just doesn't go in this one.
I'm over here licking my chops. Yeah, the point total for this game is 40.5 over-under. I mean,
yeah. And it's probably like Patriots favored by about a touchdown, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
by 6 points.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it's a low-scoring game, but the running game should be decent because of the volume. So I think that's definitely what you want to roll with.
Definitely. All right, the Saints here. Adam Troutman was limited in Friday's practice, and Jarvis Landry, both ankles, was limited as well in Friday's practice. What does this mean to you for this offense as a whole? Does it excite you about anyone? Does it worry you about these specific guys? I saw a few people picking up Jarvis Landry actually this week, and
I saw that too. I guess with the Michael Thomas news, people were excited. I mean, this is like, it's not like Landry's been any better than Michael Thomas this year. He's just been off the field the entire time, but maybe he's a guy that he could be, getting it back together. This just means more for Olave and also Juwan Johnson. I think Juwan Johnson is a guy that, like, when Troutman's been off the field, has ran a lot more routes, has looked decent, and actually plays the actual tight end position. So I think he's a guy that becomes interesting. Who would have thought, man? The Saints actually have two tight ends you could actually go with, and that's because of Taysom Hill's designation.
Hill,
yeah.
How are we feeling about Taysom Hill? I mean, are you still trying to find the fit weekly? Are you in deeper leagues?
I think if you went, he's another guy that I think is competing with Evan Ingram and competing with Gerald Everett, of course, as different style of players, but they have red zone packages for him about every week. And so he's always going to be a touchdown guy, and the tight end position is touchdown dependent in fantasy. So you might as well get excited about a guy who's going to get schemed up for it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I thought it was weird too about the Jarvis Landry thing. I saw him picked up in I think almost all the leagues I was in, and I was like, did I miss something? But I think you're right about the whole Michael Thomas going IR.
Yeah,
makes people overthink the situation, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Olave show. He's commanded targets. He looks good.
Oh, he's so good. Both, I mean, him and Garrett Wilson, they were teammates in college. They both
Jameson Williams too, who started in Ohio State, man.
Yep. And you transferred because of those two guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of Garrett Wilson's teammate right here, Corey Davis with his knee, he's been ruled out again against the Bills. So does this excite you for our man, Garrett Wilson?
I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's got great talent. He commanded targets last week, got over 100 yards, caught 6 of 7 balls, I believe. And this is great because, it looks like Zach Wilson had eyes for Corey Davis. And then when he's pulled out of the lineup, they can only sustain, it looks like, one of these wide receivers at a time. And it looks like it'll be Wilson this week. The problem I have with this is the Bills are looking to get Tre'Davious White back this week, and they are great against wide receivers. They're great on defense, period. So I do think that there could be a volume play for Wilson, but it's not. I mean, Zach Wilson versus the Bills just makes me like my butthole pucker just a little bit here. So
you said that he has an eye for Corey Davis. I think he was staring at Corey Davis on the sideline when he threw those 3 picks that went directly to
yeah, he's like, I miss you.
Yeah,
I miss you. Yeah, exactly.
What he was doing.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, man, he's not looking like the guy. So.
It's crazy to me watching him because some throws are like a whoa, but then other throws you're like, what the fuck?
I think Ian Hart said it best when he said that Zach Wilson is like if Pat Mahomes was blackout drunk when he played.
I like that a lot, actually.
Because you get some like wow moments, right there, and then you get like absolute dog shit.
Yes, sir. All right, my Seattle Seahawks. I'd like to read these right.
Our Seattle Seahawks. Always, Seahawks. Yeah. Everybody says this is America's team here. This is
America's team, baby. My boy DK Metcalf, my boy Tyler Lockett, both removed from the injury report.
Who the hell needs a patella tendon? Who needs a hamstring? These guys are healthier than they've ever been right now.
Yeah, and then Marquise Goodwin, we thought he was okay fill-in with both these were out, but both of them played last week, so he had those 2 great touchdowns 2 weeks ago, but I don't know if I recommended picking up anyways.
Not without any of them out, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Just drop him if you have him. Or, I mean, if it's a deep league and you have to stash him, he's an okay stash if one of them goes out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the only thing here is I saw a blurb earlier this week that Pete Carroll said, we've yet to fully unleash Kenneth Walker is what he said. So I don't know what that means, but if I went out and traded for Kenneth Walker in a couple leagues, and I sure am glad I did, and I can't wait to see what unleashed means.
That excites me, and this matchup excites me. But the thing is, the NFC West always play each other hard.
Right.
I could see this game going. I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't know if there's going to be too many fantasy points this game. Honestly, I mean,
really, it's got a pretty big high over under here. Both teams are kind of hitting their stride offensively, which is kind of why. I mean, I know that Seattle's got a little bit of defensive gusto right now, but I tell you what, Arizona got embarrassed by Seattle in that game against them because they didn't score an offensive touchdown in that game. So to me, I think that Arizona, it's going to be in the dome. I think this could be a high-flying game, but I feel you on that NFC West thing. But usually, sometimes things open up in the second time around. Like when you've
I like it too. Like
it
definitely feels like paper-wise, reading a piece of paper, like it's going to be a high-scoring game for sure. It's just watching the NFC West these years, man. It's always tough, and this gives me the feeling that it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I'm a little hopeful, obviously.
But I'm still starting DK and Lockett everywhere if I have them. They've been great this year. Yeah.
And Geno's in a good matchup. Arizona been good against or been good for your QB.
October's NFC Offensive Player of the Month, Geno Smith.
That's right. MVP candidate potentially.
Here we go with the Buccaneers.
I can't believe we're saying that. And I'm like legit. I'm legit not joking.
He's third right now. He's third right now, honestly.
And MVP odds. I mean, they would have to win the NFC, I think, or but yeah.
I just want him to get more NFL MVP votes than Russell Wilson's ever had. He only needs
one. He's got to get his one, right? Yeah.
He only needs one.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mike Evans is not on Tampa's final Week 9 injury report. That's great to see. I have him a few places. Instead of T. Higgins, I almost traded Mike Evans, but I really wanted to hold on to Mike Evans. And then Julio Jones is also not on the report. Are we? Man, Julio has been so hit or miss this season. I mean, has he hit yet? I mean, has he had a going off game yet?
He had a touchdown last week. I think it was over 10 points in standard. So he hasn't been like crazy good, but he also hasn't played a lot. He's been kind of banged up.
Out. Does it excite you to play him some places?
Yeah, I think with what we've been talking about guys like Chase Claypool and your Kadarius Toney and some of these what the heck flexes. I think this is a fine what the heck flex. The only problem is I'm fading Tom Brady in a lot of matchups. Tom Brady has one game out of 8 one game in which he's thrown more than one touchdown. I mean, that's insane to me. Tom Brady. So all of his games are one touchdown except for one. So to me, it's a little bit scary. But the Rams, for all the trouble they've had on offense, they've been pretty good on defense, at least good enough. Their offense has gotten them in trouble. So I don't know. I mean, Evans is the start, obviously, Godwin. But yeah, Julio Jones. I mean, I think you're fine to what the heck desperation flex him here.
Yeah, I think I'm starting Julio over Kadarius and probably over Claypool.
Yeah, well, definitely over Claypool. Yeah. And I'm with you there. I think I'd start him over Kadarius as well.
Yeah. All right, Derrick Henry in his foot. He's not on the injury report. That's great to see. I mean, he is a man with a mission this season, and I think that read option offense with their rookie quarterback, I think that's what opened a lot of holes for him last week. Their quarterback, Willis, only had 55 passing yards. And
yeah, Willis was an absolute bust of I was stashing him everywhere I could, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it worked for him.
I mean, playing the Texans for him.
Yeah. But I mean,
does something.
Seeing a running quarterback that has a running ability like Willis. And
yeah, that's true.
I'm just going to put it out there. That man has thighs that don't lie. Holy crap. He looks like a running back there, man. He has the running back's lower body, and seeing that read option play,
and he's got legit dangerous speed too. Exactly. So I think that's why it opens that up.
Yeah. And that excites me a lot for Henry. So it's good to see that he is off the injury report. And then Ryan Tannehill, Mike Vrabel said that he is questionable and will be game time decision. Well, we just talked about Malik Willis. Yeah. Malik Willis. If Ryan Tannehill starts, are you even playing him anywhere?
No, I picked up the Chiefs defense everywhere. They're 13-point favorites in this game. I think I'd be rocking with that. Derrick Henry's the only advisable start for me. I would say this: if you're picking up Jarvis Landry and you have an IR spot in your league, go get Treylon Burks. He's probably a week or two away, and I think he demanded a little bit of targets when he was in, and I think he could be an interesting post season or down the season rookie bump here for our guy there. But getting back to this particular game and this matchup here, yeah, I mean, I think Derrick Henry. I don't know if you saw the NFL Films cut up of Derrick Henry, but basically. It had Mike Vrabel yelling at his offensive line. He goes, everybody fucking knows we're going to give it to Derrick Henry, and that's the play, and they can't do anything about it. And then at the end of the game, he said, the difference, man, I mean, in a locker room full of his guys, he goes, the difference between our team and the rest of the NFL is we have Derrick Henry. And I was just like, dude, this guy just understands that he has got to get the ball to Derrick Henry as much as possible.
Bro, he is a different beast, man. He's so big, so fast, and I want him to stay healthy as long as he can, man.
Yeah, we'll see. It's the foot again, so this is a little bit. It was a little bit of a, you got the feeling in your gut, and not the good one when that update came out. But he was removed from the injury report, so maybe they're just being cautious and giving him maintenance days.
If he's available and you need a handcuff, Hilliard is a great one to have.
Yeah, and especially because he's involved in the passing game. Yeah.
All right, J.D. McKissick on the Washington, formerly known as the football team. He will not play Week 9 against the Vikings, and Jahan Dotson has been ruled out as well. For the Commanders this week, anyone over there? Heineke's starting, and he loves his man Scary Terry. Or is that the main play? I know you like Gibson a little bit this week too, right?
Yeah, Gibson's a start for me. I think he's a RB2 flex consideration guy, and especially in this, in this economy, we've got 6 teams on bye. But the Vikings tough against the run, but they let up receiving, similar to Seattle. They allow about 40 receiving yards per game. I think that's top 8. So I think that's actually really what you want to go with here is Gibson over Brian Robinson, especially with McKissick out. In the last 3 weeks, I think Gibson has 15 targets, 13 catches, something like that. So that's something to be excited about with McKissick out here with the neck. Man, Jenna saying, enjoy listening to us. I appreciate that, Jenna. We're going to get to those questions as well, and we appreciate having you guys in here. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Join Whisper Nation.
Definitely. And I just want to add to that. That's what Gibson did in college, man. He's a receiver.
Exactly.
Get him the ball more out of the backfield.
I'm with you, man. I think this actually, we thought, oh, well, Robinson's going to take his job. This might be the best thing for Gibson is now he gets in as that, especially in PPR formats, because now he gets in there as that pass catcher and could be a dangerous weapon in the red zone for them and kind of play that extended role.
Yeah, man. I think that's it for the slides we have. So I think we can start diving into those questions.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go up to the top here, and thank you all for your patience and rocking with us through this hour of the injury news and notes. A lot of stuff to get through, especially with the buys. But Kyle asking about who he could trade for for Debo, and then he came back and he said, "Do I trade Mike Williams, Algier, and Mariota for Debo and J-Rob?" And I think I'd do this deal. Absolutely.
I would too.
Yeah,
100%.
if you could get it done. And I think he came back and said, I think I'm about to trade Mike Williams, Algier, and Mariota for Debo and Robinson Jr. So that's B-Rob. I think might even be better than J-Rob.
Yep.
So that's a good one for you there. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adam says, what's up, guys? Need some help. 3 and 5. Oh, I think we answered this one for you before we rocked into that other one. But we'd go Pacheco and then Pittman as your 2 starts there, just as a reminder. Hey, guys, I sold a lot of my team for picks this year. Pick 2, London, Algier, Edwards, B-Rob, please. What do you think, Donnie?
Oh, man. The Falcons are versing the Chargers, right?
Yep.
Is that Gus Edwards? I think he's going to be out.
Yeah, Gus Edwards might be out. I like Algier and London here.
Yeah, I think I would play both Falcons players, honestly.
Yeah. Division leading Falcons.
Yeah, man. We like Gibson for Washington this week. I think we're fading B-Rob a little bit, and we like the Chargers' defense hasn't been that great, and we like the Falcons to run a lot, and when they do throw, they throw to 2 players, London and Pitts mostly.
And Olamide Zacchaeus, dude?
Yeah.
Or two plays a game?
Yeah.
Calvin Brown says non-PPR pick 2 for the flex. Gibson, Palmer, Swift, Hawkinson, please and thank you. Oh, man, this is tough because I like Palmer and Gibson as my 2 starts this week.
I was just going to say the first 2 look nice to me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. The only reason I wouldn't throw Hawkinson is because he's just got traded to the Vikings. So I think there could be a little bit of a learning curve. And if you have the ability to pivot from Swift, this was actually the 3rd one that Dwayne McFarland said was Gibson over Swift. So I'm going to go with that as well. I think that's cool.
I like it.
Do I trade? Oh, yeah, we got that one. Appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, friends. Full point PPR, do I go Likely or Drake London? Need a second flex. This one's interesting because now I think I might lean Likely a little bit. But again, we talked about how tough that matchup is for New Orleans. But then you've got the volume you have to compete with for the Falcons. So what do you think here?
If it was half point or standard, I would say London. But they barely throw the ball. I think Likely is going to get 7 targets. I think I'm going Likely. Okay.
You think at least if it's tough, he could make up for it by catching a few underneath and really getting there for you because the volume should be there for him. Jenna saying that she just traded Juju and Deion Jackson to the JT owner for Olave. Major W? ? I like this deal. I think Juju on his own, though, is kind of good. I mean, if you don't need running back and you're good to do this, I'm okay with that. But I'm interested to see how this dynamic in Kansas City runs itself out over the next couple of weeks with Kadarius Toney in town. Because there's no question, pure talent-wise, Kadarius Toney is the best talent at wide receiver they're going to have. Can he put it all together, and can he demand the targets? That would be the question. And Juju's kind of been hitting his stride a little bit here. Yeah,
Juju had 2 great weeks in a row before the bye. And Olave, he had last week wasn't very good with about 5 points. But the 4 weeks before that, he hit over 10. In
he's
PPR.
just a target hog, too.
So I like this. I've never been high on Juju, except the last 2 weeks he has looked really nice. So that part of it scares me a little bit. And then Deion Jackson, if JT goes on IR, that does scare me a little bit too. But I like the upside of Olave.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Blurpy says, any trades for a wide receiver I could make with Gibson and Drake? My running backs are stacked with Henry, Kamara, Cook, and ETN, 2 flex leagues, so I can play all 4. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra, D-Hop, and Pittman. So I think I'd try to get rid of Drake. Gibson might be a little bit of a hold, but if you want to package him up and try and get Gibson and Drake, package him's fine. But I almost try and get one more wide receiver. Maybe you could, I don't know, would you take maybe go get Mike Evans for this?
I don't think the Mike Evans owner would do that.
Maybe they're hurting for running back. That's what I would do is go look at your league and see, when if I don't know if you play on Sleeper, but you can look at all the rosters at once in most leagues, and you can try and see who's hurting at running back, who's got buys coming up. That's another one. Look at the buys the next few weeks and who's going to need them, and try and use that as your selling tactic. But yeah, I think somewhere around that line.
I think it's a great time to sell high on Gibson because he's actually looked
Would you
good.
do both of those guys for Olave? We just talked about Olave being a get.
I think I would with those 4 other running backs I have.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would.
Do I trade Waller for Chris Olave and Tyler Higbee? Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah. 100%.
Excuse me, I would do that deal.
Waller could come back and kill
especially
the league,
in PPR. Like in PPR, we've seen Higbee really soak up a lot of work. And now there's some concern with him blocking, but I think you recover most of what you would get out of Waller, and then you get Olave as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Kyle says, I think that's the same trade that we've talked 4 times. Jenna says, Waller plus Fournette plus Olave for ETN and Najee. So you would give up Waller, Fournette, and Olave, and you get ETN and Najee?
I would not trade away Olave. So I would do Fournette and Waller just for ETN.
I like that. Yeah, you don't want Najee either. Yeah,
you don't really want Najee. You want to keep Olave. I would do Waller and Fournette for ETN if possible.
Yeah. Kyle Nagel, do I start Lazard or Thielen at flex? Love the content. We appreciate it, Kyle. I would start Thielen this week. Even if Lazard goes, I think you're in kind of the same boat with these guys. A little bit of nagging injury, touchdown upside, and I trust the Vikings offense a little bit more. God, I'm going to barf talking about that with my Packers. It's my favorite team.
It's so tough to be a fan
dude.
and a fantasy football fan, man.
But that's where I'm at with it. I think that's where I'm going with it.
I think I'm right there with you.
Emmanuel says, is now the time to roster OBJ before he signs somewhere, or is he still a ways away from returning to football? So we follow Dr. Edwin Porras on Twitter. We've had him on the show. He's got an expected timetable for OBJ between weeks 14 and 16. If you are a contender, you're 6-2, you're 7-1, you have the extra bench spot, and you're looking a little bit of pop in the playoffs, I'm fine with it. Other than that, you have to be one of those 3 records, I think, one of those 3 top records. Otherwise, it's just not worth the roster spot to me.
Yeah, I'm totally agreeable. And I saw you pick him up in a few leagues like a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, and I ended up dropping OBJ because I looked at bye weeks and stuff. But yeah, that was, I picked him up. We saw the news cycle go through because he had some workout videos come out. So we thought maybe a November return. But now it's a December return timeline, and that's kind of where I'm thinking it. I'm trying to get Amari. I think that's a good one. I would stay away from Keenan Allen if I could when you're trying to go get those wide receivers. Both owners of both of those have bad RBs. Amari is a good one. I like that deal. Same. Especially with Deshaun Watson on the horizon. Would you do those 2 backs and Pittman for Cooper? I feel like that's too much. Yeah, try and do Gibson maybe and Pittman for Cooper because I don't think he'll do Drake. I mean, Drake, I would do Drake and Pittman first for Cooper if you could, but I don't think he'll do that. But I would do the Gibson part of that. So maybe you could counter with that and get it done. All right, I think that does it. Thank you so much, Whisper Nation. This has been an absolute blast. Donnie, we'll be back on Sunday morning rocking with the people for Week 9 lineups. Any last-minute advice here for Whisper Nation before we get through to Sunday? Any weekend plans?
Just working nonstop for PFF. I'm just staring at a screen for 25 hours every weekend. I'm excited. Just pay attention to more news like the Cordero Patterson news tomorrow, and come back on 8:30 Sunday morning.
Yeah, hour and a half before kickoff. We'll be rocking with you, and we'll be going through.
Get on there, and we'll answer all the questions, and we'll talk about even more news that pops up, and it'll be an exciting time.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's been a pleasure, Whisper Nation. And for Donnie Tubbs, I'm Big Travie. We are the Fantasy Whispers. Hit that subscribe button on your way out, and we will see you on Sunday. Peace.
Right here. Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. Or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community, head on over to our Discord chat. Link is in the description below.